Welcome to a very special episode of Nerds and Friends. Today, Carey is going to pitch us the movie Hard Target.
No, I am not. I need to save that. I need to save Hard Target. Don't you fucking put that on me.
Okay, what are we talking about today then, Carey?
All right. Well, today, welcome to Thursday Night Movie Pitch. This is going to be like a classic movie or something that you guys should check out. I'm a huge cult movie fan, like cult classics kind of movie fan, or like kind of these off the beaten path ones. But I'm going to like for this first one, I'm going to go like a little bit more general, and this is definitely aimed at like the now like the younger generation, especially considering the uptick in like really good Western movies that have been coming out. So the movie that I'm going to talk about today is High Plains Drifter. It is a 1973 Clint Eastwood movie. It's one of those, and it's a dark Western, which is really what makes it an interesting flick. It's influenced by Sergio Leone. I'm double checking right now on the IMDb because it's bothering me. Oh, Clint Eastwood directed it, and like so. Actually, tonally, this makes a lot of sense because this could very much be a prequel to later Eastwood movies like Unforgiven. But basically, what you get is you get a really good, almost a bottle episode of a solid Western. It all takes place in this one real small town somewhere in the High Plains. And what you pick up really fast, I mean, it's your classic Clint Eastwood Western, is in Clint Eastwood rolls into town. And what you pick up with really fast is that the whole town is extremely uncomfortable that Clint Eastwood is there. Like some people think that they recognize him. Some people think that that's impossible because the dude they recognize is probably dead. Like it's very much kind of a like it's play like it's a little bit of a mystery. It's a little bit it's potentially a little bit supernatural by the end. But
I like that. I'm intrigued already.
Yeah, what you get to see is you get to see that real spaghetti Western influence on Clint Eastwood and how he made his particular brand of the post-Western, which is the 1970s, late 60s era of Westerns that jumped straight out of the John Wayne, white hat, black hat, like classic cowboy movies, like the original. Oh, I'm totally blank. Where he plays Rooster Cogburn. God damn it. True Grit. There we go.
Yes.
So like you get like you get even though True Grit's a little bit more of the like the later era, good old John Wayne. But what you get out of High Plains Drifter is a really good slow burn early 70s movie. It's not too terribly long. Like you're not going to be watching a 2.5 hour flick. But the cool thing about it is you get to see all these like classic Western archetypes in the character, like because the movie is not so much about Clint Eastwood's character because he's still playing kind of the man with no name. It's about the reaction of a character like this in a town that is itself implicitly guilty. And
guilty of what? Or is that a mystery that I need to watch the movie to find out?
That's kind of part of the mystery in an interesting way. Like it like you feel like you pick up on it pretty quick. But the like the interesting thing about it is it's very much a you know what I don't want to spoil the ending except for the fact that he literally makes them paint the town red. And it's this fascinating it's just this fascinating little study of a Western movie in that very dark genre. And it's something that's fun to just kind of like put on in the background if you're feeling kind of westerny. It's something that's fun to just go forth and like try and analyze it, because what you'll see in a lot of different ways is you get to see where Clint Eastwood now, or let's just go with like kind of his peak Western Unforgiven, like you get to see where that comes from. and you get to see very much Clint Eastwood's mentality and his ability to really set up what is a good Western movie.
That's awesome.
Okay, so do you have any questions about said movie, or like any clarifying information?
I'm trying to. I mean, you've done a great job of pitching it, so I must think if I have any questions. Obviously, I don't want spoilers because I want to watch this movie already. I'm trying to think. Does Clint Eastwood have, like, is there a cool villain he faces off against, or is it the mystery and the intrigue of who he is and what the town has done that's kind of the main antagonist?
That's kind of the cool thing. Is the thing I really like about this story is that there's not really a villain in a traditional sense. Actually, there's a good chunk of Clint Eastwood movies where he does a really good job of being the one guy against a corrupt system or a corrupt group. If I'm going to go with another Clint Eastwood movie that's a fucking classic that needs to be watched by more people is The Gauntlet.
I've never heard of it.
The Gauntlet is one of those fantastic, this could be a Dirty Harry movie, Clint Eastwood cop flicks.
Okay.
And the cool thing about that is the kickoff to it. Like, first of all, like, one of the great things about good 70s action flicks, especially ones that are a huge chase the whole time, like The Gauntlet ends up being, it's all practical effects the whole time, and it's cool as fuck. Yeah. And the cool thing about The Gauntlet itself, it starts off looking like a Dirty Harry movie until like 9 cop cars and dudes with automatic machine guns pop up outside a house where Clint Eastwood's supposed to be picking up a witness, and they shoot the fuck out of the house to the point where it collapses.
Whoa. And that's a good, like, genre bender twist.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a really good genre bender twist because basically it's the lone paragon cop versus the dirty the dirty precinct thing. That's cool. Because you find out by the end of it, the real big bad is like the police commissioner of the city that Clint Eastwood works for. Wow. And he's sent because he's the local drunk. He's the fuck up. But he's also a fucking cockroach. Like, you cannot kill him.
That's awesome.
And that's what's so fun about it. And I like, and that's, and like, it's not that he's fighting one villain, it's that he has to actually get through a gauntlet. And that's kind of the cool thing about High Plains Drifter. Very cool. In a big way too. Yeah. It's like, it's not that there's a villain, it's that you get to see the circumstance of one dude standing up against a little bit less in High Plains Drifter than it is in the Gauntlet. You get to see a guy that's coming up against something where the odds are absolutely stacked against him. But the cool thing about High Plains Drifter is how fucking cool he plays it the whole time.
That's like, awesome.
The dude is basically a proto Punisher in the movie. And you know, now that I'm off on the timeline, I'm not sure when the Punisher was introduced versus High Plains Drifter, but that is kind of what makes it a cool version of a Western.
Okay,
in that way.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I assume there's at least one good standoff and like draw down at noon type thing.
Oh yeah, and the great thing is, here's the cool thing about that. Starting with the spaghetti Western, you really got a good breakdown of that particular trope. The stand down in the middle of the street. You got to see people like fighting a little bit dirty. And the first real action scene in High Plains Drifter is actually a scene where Clint Eastwood's going in to get shaved at the barber, and he has a shootout with some guys because he has his gun drawn underneath the barber's cape.
Oh, cool.
And it's like 5-10 minutes into the movie, maybe, because, you know, it's a Western, so the first 10 minutes is going to be some dude riding a horse on the horizon.
Of course.
But when he rolls into town and these guys immediately like try to like pull one over on him, it's not, I'll see you at noon. It's, yeah, you think I'm fucking around, dude. Like, he comes in and he freaking he lays down the law in
Nice.
the don't fuck with me law immediately, and then the rest of the movie, the tone is set off of that, and you're seeing people like, some people are trying to get on his good side, some people are really trying to avoid him, some people really just want his ass dead,
Mm.
they maybe potentially kill him at one point, maybe he's always been dead. Like it's a very interesting
Wow.
way of breaking it down.
That
And
sounds like it subverts a lot of tropes and does interesting things with them.
mhm. And it's a great way, and it's a great like low budget look and flick. Like that's kind of what I like about westerns right now. Is not really the low budget look, but like a western is very much it kind of takes that man versus nature idea, where like you are in what is going to be a hostile environment regardless.
Right.
But it's also the dynamics and interplay of people within that hostile environment. Actually, in a way that who's the dude that does Yellowstone in 1883? Ty Sheridan, I think is his name, or
Oh,
Taylor
I didn't
Sheridan,
realize. Yeah, he's the one who did who wrote Sicario and Hell or High Water,
and Wind River.
Wind River. Yes, I like his work. I didn't know he did Yellowstone in 1883.
I didn't know that until recently either, but
Oh, well, now I have to watch those because his like American West trilogy, the three movies
mhm.
we just named, are fucking brilliant. So,
Yeah, and
yeah,
he's really good at bringing that into kind of the modern lens in a great way. He's a really fucking good director in that way. And the cool thing is, like, I'm a history nerd, and the cool thing about that is you get to peel that back a little bit when you watch older movies that are the influence on what's going on now. You want to watch a Jackie Chan flick and really appreciate it, go watch some Buster Keaton films. Like
nice.
seriously, watch the original like stuntman director actor who was also hilarious.
Oh,
And then
Buster Keaton's brilliant. I watched his movies in film school and it was awesome.
they're so fun, and you get to see like because I knew generally who Buster Keaton was, but then when I started watching a couple of his movies, you
Sherlock
saw,
Jr. is my favorite.
oh, it's so fucking funny, dude.
Real
Make you
quick, if I
laugh.
may, Taylor Sheridan is who we're
Taylor
talking about.
Sheridan. Okay.
Look at this guy's writing credentials: Sicario, Hell or High Water, Wind River, Sicario 2, the new Without Remorse. I'm going to watch it now that he's involved. I didn't realize he wrote the screenplay for it.
Well.
Those Who Wish Me Dead with Angelina Jolie. I heard good things about that.
Mhm.
Yellowstone, Mayor of Kingstown, and 1883, all created by him.
Damn. Okay. Mayor
Those
of
are all things I'm
Kingstown
going to
sounds
watch now.
looks legit too.
Yeah,
Um,
I really like his work, so I'm going to watch all those things now.
yeah, and he's very much got a great way of putting together something that has the feel of a post-western. It's one of
Yeah,
the reasons why Wind River works so well. In
yeah.
this,
What a horrible crisis going on that he really sheds a light on in a really poignant and well written way.
he gets to shed a light on something in a very pointed and specific way. Specifically, Native women disappearing and getting ignored, and he does get to shine that light on it. It does, like honestly, like the epitaph of that movie brought a lot of attention to that, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is that movie is much like very early post westerns, is actually super light on the action until it fucking hits.
Oh, dude, that scene towards the end when they have the ambush outside of the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. That was some
Yeah,
well directed action right there.
everything about it, and like I said, and I'll also like in future installments of this, when I get to bring up the cool things about cult films, and where cult films have influenced modern, like, really good movies that you all probably know. I'm excited when it comes down to that, especially when it comes down to Hard Target, because
We're gonna
uh,
build up to Hard Target.
we're we're
We're
gonna, we're
gonna
gonna
make you
build up
wait
the Hard
for it.
Target, yeah, but it will be fun.
Yes. I think Wind River is probably Jeremy Renner's best acting role in my opinion.
I think he kills it in that movie.
Yeah. When I first heard about it, I was like, eh. Like, I'm sure Jeremy Renner's a nice guy, but as an actor, I'm just kind of like, he's good, but not like excellent, you know?
Mhm.
But when I finally watched Wind River, I was like, holy shit, like, this is a really good movie.
He's got some chops.
Elizabeth Olsen is awesome as always. She's
Uh,
brilliant.
yeah, Elizabeth Olsen is a freaking fantastic. Yeah, exactly. Another fantastic actor like that. I do think it speaks to the fact that like everybody that pops up in these Taylor or Tyler Sheridan, I'm totally blanking.
Taylor.
These Taylor Sheridan movies. I think it really does speak to the writing of Taylor Sheridan that
I believe he directed those as well.
he's got such a way of letting characters own a fucking scene. God, I know we're going way off of High Plains Drifter.
He directed Wind River. He did.
He
He
directed
didn't.
Wind
He
River.
didn't. Yeah, obviously, he didn't direct Sicario. That was Denis Villeneuve.
Mm.
But he
Oh
did.
yeah.
Yeah, he did Wind River, and he did Those Who Wish Me Dead, and then he's directed episodes of 1883 and Yellowstone and Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh yeah.
So I
Well,
need to watch all three of those now.
Denis Villeneuve or Denis Villeneuve and do the like the way he did
Dude, I can't
friggin'
believe I got to meet
Sicario.
him. Every movie he's done, I've just been in love with. I can't believe I got to meet him. And I was wearing my
Mhm.
Baby Yoda shirt, and he was like, I thought that it was Gremlins for a moment. That would have been sacrilege. And I was like, oh, my favorite director. Like, yeah. So it was awesome.
I do have to say, when you think about things when you think about the way that directors do shoot something like uh, I think that Sicario is actually a really great representation of that the Western movie framing and the way to set up a shot and I mean, fuck, the way to frame action, all put into a very good modern context. Because, like, I mean, anybody who's seen Sicario, you can see in your head the second you think of Sicario, you can think of that last
No,
couple
no, no, no,
frames.
no, no. That little
Yeah,
music, yeah.
you can think you like the music backwards, and you everybody knows that last frame of fucking Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt having a fucking stare down,
Yep.
like they like the shots are amazing. They're iconic, and they know like he knows when to go wide and make something feel expansive. He knows when to go narrow to keep the drama.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about watching old westerns, like if you want a proto Sicario, God, I'm going off on a western tangent. You
Well, we
want
gotta
proto.
real quick. We gotta talk about how good he is at building tension in like
Mhm.
Prisoners and Arrival, and even
Oh
Blade Runner
yeah.
2049 is just like this is totally turned into a bow down to Denis Villeneuve session real quick. But oh my god, he's
Yeah.
great.
Well, you get to see that influence. That's what's cool. Like if you want a proto Sicario, that I like, I guarantee fucking to you, this is a movie that Denis Villeneuve probably knows. It's Outlaw Josie Wales.
Never
Um,
heard of it.
it is another Clint Eastwood movie directed by Clint Eastwood, and the reason that I bring it up is like the whole reason I watched is because when I started getting into westerns, I asked my dad, "Dad, what is your favorite Clint Eastwood western?" And he said, "High Plains Drifter, Outlaw Josie Wales, and his third was Hang 'Em High." All cowboy movies, all Clint Eastwood. I can't remember if Clint Eastwood directed Hang 'Em High, but the thing about Outlaw Josie Wales is it has that same uh, ability to build tension in it.
Mm.
Specifically with a couple scenes, because most of the movie is Clint Eastwood trying to get away from people. And it's in that 70s, slightly tongue in cheek, but he's gonna get killed by this group of Union fuckheads if he gets caught. Like, I think this is the Missouri Redlegs is who's coming after him, and he's like a holdover, like he's like the last guy hasn't surrendered during the Civil War or some shit.
Oh wow.
Um, and he's just trying to go off and make a homestead. But basically, also the group that's coming after him, they massacred his whole unit. Like when his unit surrendered, they massacred his whole unit in the first couple minutes. And also, this is the same guy that burned his home to the ground and killed his whole family. Um,
Oh.
and and when you get to the last standoff in this movie, you get to see into the past of where the last showdown shots in really good movies comes from, because there is a scene, and I'm not spoiling anything. It's like a 50-year-old fucking movie at this point. But there's a scene, because Outlaw Josie Wales has 3 revolvers. He's got 2 big ones. He's got a third one that's on his belt. And when he is staring down the bad guy, and and they've had the shootout, and he is just clicking, and you're seeing his fucking eyeballs.
Oh.
And it's like empty, empty, empty. And he tosses one aside and he pulls out that third gun. It's just empty, empty, empty. And, you know, when the last kill comes, it's earned, it's tense, and you see like the build up to it's like he's playing freaking 3-gun Russian roulette.
Oh.
And it's an excellent scene, and you get to see that in the way Emily Blunt stands off of Benicio del Toro. You get to see that in like every good we're gonna keep you waiting until the bad guy fucking deserves to die last couple frames. You get that here, and it's absolutely worth it.
That's awesome.
So for your Thursday night movie night, or Friday night, or if you want to just find something to check out this weekend, check out High Plains Drifter and see how that has affected modern cinema. If you want a little bit of an slightly off the beaten path Clint Eastwood movie, as opposed to just watching the Dollars trilogy again, which I also recommend.
That's solid, man. Thank you for presenting that to us. And this has been a great conversation about cinema that just kind of blossomed from there and went around.
Mhm.
So this is our new Thursday night tradition. And we're going to start doing that because eventually Hard Target will be pitched eventually, but we're going to work up to it. I will annoyingly bring it up every time.
We're gonna WrestleMania this shit, where I'm just gonna keep we're gonna keep bringing it up until it's pay-per-view, and then you have to watch it.
Perfect. Well, thank you for this special episode of Nerds and Friends. Thank you, Carey, and thank you everyone who listened.
Alrighty, have a good one.